One, a two, a one.
It's time for the Better Horses radio show. So let's saddle up and ride as we explore the Western way of life, horses and cows, family and friends, a relationship with the land, and a relationship with God. It's all here on Better Horses Radio. Now let's hit the trails with the Better Horses team.
And welcome to Better Horses. We are so glad you joined us. We have a great show and a lineup coming our way. My name's Ed Adams. Let me introduce my co-host for today.
Hello, I'm Susie Arbo.
Howdy, I'm Merle Arbo.
And together, us three are going to bring you the most information you have, not only on horses, but in other categories of animals. But you know what? Spring is coming on board. And as you hear us, we're going to be sniffling a lot. But I think, Susie, we got a lot of horses that are getting trained up and getting legged up for the shows coming up.
Yes, we went to an event this last weekend, and it just was kind of a good reminder of, when horses, it could be cool and maybe windy and breezy, and sometimes they get a little spunky and a little spirited. So having kind of a plan in place to exercise your horse, to get it out, even just lunging it before you go to the show, and really kind of getting all the yah-yahs out of it. We didn't get the opportunity to do that, so we had to get real creative, didn't we, Merle?
Yeah, we survived, yeah.
We
So
did.
to let our listening audience realize that when we go in front of a camera, our cameraman loves to throw these big hot reflecting lights on us, and Susie didn't have a chance to warm her horse up. But she did a remarkably good job holding her seat and tried to allude that we had really calm horses introducing the show. So I thought it was really good. So speaking of the show, we've got really something really exciting to talk about, and we're going to have one of the best trainers coming in and talking us all about training. And we're going to start off with a gentleman out of mid-Missouri, and his name is Fred Bershauer from Performance Horses. He's at Right Lead Ranch, located near the Ozarks. It's about 120 acres, and he's got a great place. And he's going to really break down some really good training techniques for us.
Our next guest we are excited to have is Dr. Mandy Cohen, and she explains about the latest of the bird flu outbreak. And then we also are excited to have Darvin Burkholder, and he has Farm Fresh Foods and tells us all about the chicken operation that he runs.
So just so we all know what's going on here is Susie wants chickens. Merle doesn't. So we're hoping in this segment that we get something accomplished here. Merle?
Stay tuned for the results. But, before we do all that, our first guest on the show is no stranger to Better Horses. He's one of my favorites, and we could sit there and listen to him talk for hours. And he's so entertaining and he's so relatable. And that's none other than the legendary Graig Cameron from Texas. And so he will be visiting with us and telling us a lot of stuff about life and horses and kids and everything.
And Merle and Susie, I can't tell you how excited I am to have our next guest. And in our first segment is going to be brought to you by Kleinsmith's Western Wear. And if you haven't been to Kleinsmith's, they're located in Higginsville, Missouri, and they have got over 30,000 square feet of material and boots and jeans. And Susie, I know you shop there. I mean, this is everything you need, and you can even check them out online.
Yes, I am a regular at Kleinschmidt's, and I absolutely love all of they've got Western wear, they've got work wear, no matter what you do in life, you can find something there. And so definitely check them out if you haven't yet.
And their web address is kleinboot.com, KLEINBOOT.com. And somebody that would love to get geared up by Kleinsmith's is a guy from Texas. He is has a very successful cattle business, and he has been communicating with horses ever since he was a young buck. And I am pleased to have him on board. Everyone, welcome to Better Horses. And this is Graig Cameron. Graig, welcome to Better Horses.
Oh, thank you so much. It's great to be back with Better Horses. You guys do so much good for so many people and so many horses. So again, thanks for having me.
Well, officially, thank you for all the history of videos and learning techniques that you have given us throughout all the years. And I know you've been doing this down at the Double Horn Ranch down in Texas. But you know what? You've been in this business for a long, long time. I hope that's a plus. That's not a negative. But you've watched our techniques change quite a bit, going from the 80s to now, and looking at you being the winner of Road to the Horse. Talk to me about how you get started and how the training has really changed throughout the years.
Well, I think you're exactly right about that. I grew up in an era like and learned the ranching business, the cow business, and being around horses originally from guys who were actually born in the 1800s. And they were great guys and wanted to emulate them because I wanted to be a cowboy, and so they taught me the traditions of saying what you mean what you say. Having a really great work ethic and that type of thing. But even back then, they had that old style, kind of really being pretty rough on the horses, kind of showing the horses who were boss. And even as a young guy, I knew there was a better way. So, I was always working at that because I really liked horses. And, you're not more of a cowboy than when you're horseback, as you guys know that. But, I was fortunate enough in the mid 80s, probably 1985 or something like that. I got the opportunity to meet Ray Hunt. And really what I learned mostly from Ray was the philosophy of working with the horse and not against the horse. And of course, through Ray, I met Tom Dorrance, who was such a deep thinker. And, I always say horsemanship truly is a thinking man's game. So really what it boils down to is working with the horse and not against the horse.
And Craig, it's interesting you mentioned Tom and Ray and those guys. And I'm always a big fan of history, whatever kind of history it is, but especially the Western history. Were those the two guys that kind of started changing everything about the, working with the horse instead of the older style vaqueros? Let's put a saddle on them and see how long we can stay on.
I think that's exactly right. I think they are, like I always call Tom Dorrance kind of the father of this new wave horsemanship, and Ray Hunt sort of the dean of it. He got it out and got it going, and he made people think about horses. In other words, present things to the horse in a way he can understand. Then you got to give him the time it takes for him to understand. Not about making him do it. It's about our idea becoming his idea, encouraging the right thing, discouraging the wrong thing, directing and supporting, and truly, honestly, working through a feel that's not only physical, it's mental, emotional, mind, body, spirit. All these things are so important. So as a horseman, I think a guy needs to just step up a little bit and quit just working with these horses on a physical level. That feel is physical, mental, emotional, mind, body, spirit. And the horse has all three. So again, as you begin to see things from the horse's point of view, I think you get better at the way you can present things, to understand, to, in other words, see what that horse is seeing, hear what he's hearing, feel what he's feeling, and in taking enough time to kind of slow things down, allowing these horses to learn, because we can need to realize that for you, for me, the dogs, the kids, and for the horse, learning actually takes time.
Craig, I have kind of a different kind of question for you. I'm wondering, what do you notice that horses can bring to a human? Like, what kind of benefits and do you feel like what it's kind of a loaded question, but I'm just curious from all the things you just were saying, and I like what you said about the the wellness and the spiritual side of things. So curious.
Well, Susie, I think that's a great question because I think the horse brings a lot to us. In other words, we can kind of go back to a lot of tradition about hard work, with people, with kids. It teaches us how to win, how to lose, how to deal with good days and bad days, highs and lows, ups and downs. And, when you start digging into it, you realize the horses are just like you and me. They get hot, they get cold, they get sick, they get well, they have good days and bad days. So we need to adjust to fit that. I think if you really want to be a better horseman, it makes you more patient. It makes you a better thinker. It makes you more sympathetic to the horse's needs, to people's needs. The horse is a great barometer of life. And I think, that you've been around horses enough to know you sort of get what you give. So if you're going to give it rough and tough, you're going to give it without meaning, that's the way you're going to receive it. So people get a lot of joy out of these horses when they realize they're actually beginning to really communicate with these horses. So teaching in reality is nothing more than the art of communication. So people begin to have to work on themselves. How well can you get the horse to understand what it is that you want? How well can you get the horse to understand what it is that you don't want? So again, it's an ongoing lifetime learning experience. And for me, that's what makes horses so fascinating and again, so much fun.
Let's take that to the next level, Craig, to all the parents out there that have their kids getting into the industry of horses. You obviously raised a successful young son of Cole, and he's doing very successfully great things in training horses. Talk to us about raising kids in this area and not hurting them to a point where we destroy them, if that makes sense.
You know what? Like I know, that makes a lot of sense. It's just like the horse. I tell people, quit trying to make the horse do anything. I quit trying to make the horse make him do things a long time ago. Again, if you offer it up in a way they can understand, give them the time. Like we said before, pretty soon our idea becomes their idea. The same with our kids. You don't want to force it on them. You want them to enjoy it. So in the beginning, we need that really gentle, older horse where they don't have to be afraid and allow them to have fun. I always say, quit taking it so serious, you forget to have fun. So if we can start these kids out kind of having fun, but at the same point, being sympathetic to the horse's needs, having empathy for the horse right there, and working through a love of the horse. And so as I begin to make that connection with the horse, I mean, what better connection could we make would be the connection of understanding and kindness. So it doesn't mean that I don't use discipline with the horse, but again, discipline, when it's done correctly, is truly an art form. It must have, whether it's with the children or the horses, that discipline must have a learning and a positive effect. Because if it had a negative effect, I think we did a pretty poor job. So when you start slowing things down, and now you work harder at having a better presentation, whether it's with our children or with our horses, where pretty soon understanding comes in there, and also that desire, determination, and dedication. In other words, that want to. So that's what we're trying to build in there, so we can keep this great way of life that we call horsemanship. Keep it going.
That's a great point, Craig. I tell people too, I said, my mom figured out a long time before I did, if she knew where I was on Friday and Saturday nights. I mean, I was at the barn, I was getting ready for a horse show, I was at a horse show, Here I thought I was getting to do everything I wanted to do. And she knew I wasn't out there running around with all the other kids trying to get in trouble.
That's exactly right. The horse, like I said, teaches that work ethic. And, the horse, is giving something back to us, where all of a sudden we have direction. All of a sudden when these kids begin to have goals, and I think it's really great. I always say success in a place, man, that's a direction. So as these kids all of a sudden get directed with the work ethic, the fun, they're making friends that are in the horse industry as well, and they're usually good kids that know how to work and take care of things and have more responsibility. So there's so many good things coming out of the horse and horses and that way of life. And so, well, if we can keep that trail going, I think, we steer a lot of young people and older people too on the right direction. It gives us some place to go. It gives us something to do. And that's the same thing we want to do with these horses. We don't want to make our time with our horses the worst part of the day. Gosh, we want to make it the best part of the day. Like I say, got someplace to go, got something to do, fun, exciting, worthwhile. And there's a big difference, whether it's with kid or horses, big difference between a drilling process and a learning process. So, try to make it fun for the kids and the horse.
Before we let you go, I want to get your beliefs on the Extreme Cowboy Association, how it's going, how it has changed, and your thoughts on it.
Well, I came up with that idea a long time ago. One day I just realized that, the horses are getting so specific. We have a rope horse and we have a barrel horse and we have a cutting horse. And, I thought back when I was young working on those ranches, I thought, back when I was a kid, those horses kind of had to do a little bit of everything. They were really good all around horses. And I thought, what about an event where a horse has to do a little bit of everything? And so that's how I came up with it. So when you ride a horse in cowboy racing, extreme racing, you're having to go fast, you're having to go slow, show control, a soft touch, a loose rein, crossing bridges, water, ponying a horse, cutting cattle. I mean, all this comes very quickly too. And man, you talk about a great event. It's really exciting. And I will say this, I think the word extreme scares a lot of people away. I think the only extreme part in cowboy racing is like in the pro division and stuff like that. But, we have the novice division, a greenhorn division, and all that stuff. And so, again, you can get in at any level, and you meet a lot of great people that really enjoy the process of just having fun with their horses as well. So extreme racing is I'm really proud. It's really moving on, and it's gone worldwide, and we have a great world finals every year. And so, man, it's really exciting to think that, it's something I did. So, I got to be proud of that.
You've got to be proud. That's something that actually fun to watch too, not only participate in. Craig, before we let you go, let's talk about how do they get a hold of you, and talk about your clinics you have coming over there in Bluffdale, Texas. And you're actually almost everywhere, from Madison to Texas, or to Wisconsin to Texas, and so on.
Well, yeah, we're still traveling worldwide and across America, Canada, what have you. But, of course, my favorite clinics are the ones I have here at the ranch, because I've built such a wonderful facility. And, we got all the challenge trails, and we do arena work and trail work, and we have obstacle courses and cattle and all that kind of stuff. So we like to cover what I call everything from beginning to winning. So, but we are out there on the road as well doing clinics. And my son, I'm really proud of him. He's just coming on like gangbusters and making such a fine horseman. And he's going to quite a few of the big expos as well, named Cole Cameron, and great guy. And, we really try to make it fun. We give 100% to the people that come to our clinics. We spend a lot of time with them. And, it covers the whole gambit. We start with breakfast in the morning, and we're with those guys all the way till we say goodnight, so, but it's a fun experience, and that's what we want it to be, but also a learning experience as well. So we're trying to work with each rider, where they're at, where they're headed, and what their goals are.
Okay, so we're signing up right now, so everybody knows we'll be down there. We'll be doing a TV show there. So Ride Like a Champion with Cole Cameron, that's a great thing to look at. But this is Craig Cameron we're talking to. If you want to get a hold of him, check out his website at CameronHorsemanship.com. Craig, I can't thank you enough on behalf of Merle and Susie and I of joining our show, and hope to see you a lot coming down this year.
Hey, guys, I hope you'll have me back. And anytime I can do something for y'all let me know. And just like you said, hey, keep riding like a champion, and we'll see everybody down the trail. Thanks so much.
You bet. I want everybody to stay with us. We have more better horses coming your way. I'm Ed Adams.
I'm Susie Arbo.
And I'm Merle Arbo.
And we'll be right back right after these messages.
2024 is the year to compete in the world's largest horse show, the Pinto World Championship. This 13-day event begins June 8th, starting with our youth weekend through June 22nd, and caters to all riding levels and ages. With over $1 million in cash and prizes, there are no qualifications required to enter. Held in Tulsa, Oklahoma, located at the Ford Complex, the Pinto World Championship caters to all types of equines. With over 700 classes, the Pinto Show welcomes a variety of breeds to compete. It's a family environment with healthy competition. For more information, check out the website pintoworld.com.
We're here for the hardworking, the resilient. We're for the people who measure their days by what needs to get done, not by hours. Where kids learn responsibility at a young age and generations work side by side. Where work doesn't pause for holidays or bad weather. It just gets harder. Where value and hard work means more than the clothes you wear. We're Kleinschmidt's Western Store, Higginsville, Missouri.
Internal parasite control is critical to your horse's health, but isn't always easy. Some worms are as stubborn as they are dangerous. Luckily, there's Panacur Fenbendazole from Merck Animal Health. It works in a powerful and extremely safe way, so it's tough on parasites but gentle on horses, making it a safe choice for foals, weanlings, and even thin or debilitated horses. Consult your veterinarian for assistance in the diagnosis, treatment, and control of parasitism, and ask how Panacur can become part of your deworming strategy. Learn more at MerckAnimalHealthUSA.com.
Routine dental examination and treatments are essential for high-quality horse care. To prevent potential problems, a horse's mouth should be examined at least once a year. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins, Equine Field Service Veterinarian at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center. We can examine the mouth and provide a treatment plan to meet the needs of each client and their horse. Visit us at ksvhc.org, the Veterinary Health Center, to discover, to teach, to heal.
And welcome back to Better Horses. As we promised, we're going to continue out this show with great training tips, but more importantly, great trainers. And Susie, this is something I look forward to all the time, but we also got a very special sponsor for this segment.
We do. We just love the Pinto Horse Association of America. And actually, their World Championship show is coming up. It's held in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Tulsa Fairgrounds on Saturday, June 8th. That will be the first day of it. And it will kick off with the youth speech contest. And following that, we'll continue with the horse judging. And then, of course, all of the classes are going to be taking off after that. And it's a great time. It's a family friendly show. If you've ever been to it, you know what I'm talking about. And if you've never been, this is your year to go. Put it on your calendar.
Just to let everybody know, there's 700 classes. So there's something for everybody, no matter what level you are. And there's over $1 million in prizes. So again, that's June 8th through the 22nd. And then you can check it out at pinto.org. But without further ado, I want to talk to a guy that I've been looking forward to this conversation for a very long time because everybody talks about him and all the great things he's done. Fred Bershauer, Performance Horses. He is now down at Right Lead Ranch down there close to Springfield. And Fred's began back in 1981. And so we're glad to have him on board. He'll talk about his horses and his performance techniques and his training techniques. Fred, thank you for joining Better Horses.
Well, thanks for having me. Glad to be here today.
You have done a remarkable job in your competition, and obviously you have a great horse, high roller checks. Can you talk to me about some of your clinics that you go into and some of the things that you like to concentrate on when you're doing any type of cattle work or if you're doing any type of ranch work?
Yeah, I mean, when we do clinics and stuff, I like to start off with I always try to do it in phases of 3, the horse, the rider, and the horse, and then from the judge's chair. So I like to hit all 3 of those points and incorporate all that. So when I do a clinic or when I'm working with individuals, amateurs, youth, or professionals, that they get a good look at the 3 different ways to look at your horse. And I'm really big on consistency and working the horse every day, and soft and slow, and especially on the cow work, is that I do a lot of repetition. The sense is that I want it to go at a medium speed most of the time and just keep it really correct. And I feel like building that confidence in that horse and the rider together and is a really important way to get to where you want to be.
That's a great outlook there, Fred. Can you tell us a little bit how you got started and why you kind of lean towards the ranch and the working cow horse events?
I've done all the disciplines over my years of starting out as a rope horse trainer, a pleasure horse trainer, and went to Europe and had to show horses in about every discipline, from leading one in a halter to showing one in the Western riding to go down the fence with a cow. And then as I came back to the United States, I just focused on the reiners. But my heritage has always been the working ranch horse. And finally, after all the years, we got the competitions. Now I can take all that and incorporate it into what I know. And then showing reiners my whole life is like my whole program is based around just getting that horse broke for whatever discipline you're going to do.
You bring that up as far as ranch riding. Since you've been in it for so long, is it just our outlook, or is ranch riding really growing throughout the Midwest and throughout the East and West Coast?
It is it's booming. A lot of the reason why is there's just so many different levels of it, and the individual can have one in professional training and going down the road and, having that stallion, developing that stallion or that upcoming broodmare. And then also you got your amateurs, non-pros, and youth. And a lot of these horses are really the ones that we've trained and sent out, after we're done with them. The non-pros can take them and a lot of times manage them at home on their own. So you can see it where they can have one in training, one they're showing at home, and they come take lessons, and they get every aspect of it, and they get to do a lot of different areas, from the cow to the trail to the pleasure to the roping.
Yep. Fred, what does it feel like? I mean, to be out there competing and to be doing this kind of work. I'm a therapist, so I always kind of look at people's mindset and kind of the feelings behind things, and just curious what that's like for you.
It is amazing to me. I really like this in the senses that we have a lot of family oriented. The shows are, you've got the mother, the father, you get to see the incorporation with the child and being out in the world and learning with the animal and, having that one-on-one connections and people that you step away from life and you get into the horse. And if it's a doctor or if it's a layman or whatever you see them get involved with these animals. And it's just amazing. And for me to be part of it, to teach that to these people that are wanting to learn, it's just rejuvenated me. I think it's really rejuvenated a lot of the horse industry by the corporation of the ranch horse associations.
To dovetail that for those who want to learn, and knowing that you are also an active member of the Missouri Ranch Horse Association, how good or how much confidence do you have to build within your students or somebody to get in there and just go into a show? You've got obviously a show coming up May 10th and 12th. So to get that confidence level, what are you telling them? Just go do it no matter what level you are, or what kind of insurance do you like to provide for them?
My theory is I have really big ride for the horse and, ride for the day and ride for your personal best. So if you're going out there, you're a beginner and this is your first time out, just get through the pattern. I mean, that's just the beginning. The score, whatever you get will grow as you get more confident. So ride for yourself and ride for the horse and enjoy it. And I've seen this time over time in this ranch horse deal that we have so many different levels and introductory areas and stuff for people to get into it. And they just go have fun. If it's just their personal best for that day, you see this great big smile on their face.
And Merle, you see that. You're a judge too. I mean, we talk about this all the time. I mean, everybody's so interested in competing. I think Fred said it best. You just want to complete.
Yeah, well, and I was, really thinking about that as what he said earlier, and he said, he educates also from a judge's point, and I think that's really interesting that you take that approach, because it is interesting to have a working knowledge of the rules. Can you tell us how important? Obviously you've shown a lot of reiners. Can you tell us a little bit about the penalty box and staying out of that penalty box, Fred?
Yeah, I mean that's where my mindset comes from, is be able to sit in that chair and take that maneuver and split it up. Let's say if it's a rundown, that's a 4-part maneuver, so you can't judge it. You have to judge it in segments. So, you're going to start off as good, average, very good, and then come up with that plus or minus, which that would be a plus maneuver, to be able to sit there and do that as a trainer, and then also incorporate that with your training to your individual, it's your non-pro, that they start cutting that up and learning, well, I need this much to plus that maneuver, or I did this to minus that maneuver.
That's a great point. I don't think a lot of people realize it's not just that sliding stop, but you're scoring in that pattern or any, if it's a ranch riding, but you're scoring that whole maneuver. I think it's a great breakdown of that.
Yes. And like I said, you take that into spins, take it into obstacles. You got the approach to the obstacle. If it's a side pass, you got the side pass to the left. And then you look at the draped rein, you split that up. Mm-hmm. How you execute it, how the horse operates, what the rider does, and then you get that final, a 1 to 10. There's so many different ways to mark that card in each different association.
If you're just joining us, we're talking to Fred Bershauer at Performance Horses. Fred, when you're going into the show and we're talking about horses, do you train horses? Are you selling horses? Are you getting into into that game?
I did all the above. I everywhere from train them, coach them. We have horses in sale part of the time. Some young ones coming up and seasoned horses. Just every aspect of it.
And what about breeding?
I have been into the breeding. We do have a couple of brood mares that we trend towards the reiners right now on the ones we have. But what the neat thing about it, they're kind of cow bred. And they also, if they're not going to make that, number one reiner, which you kind of have to have this day and age to compete, we can change that up and maybe do the cow work and then get into the ranch horse deal. And you still have a great reiner for the ranch horse, because we have a different stop or a different maneuver for the ranch horses, not so much as the reiner. So that mid-rein reiner really works good in the ranch horse deal. And that helps our program because we have different areas to go with our animals.
Before we let you go, talk to us about the high roller checks that you ride and talk about your favorite horse and how you're moving as far as a performance and training level goes.
High roller check Ariel, holds a very special place in my heart. I started her as a 2-year-old, and she's like 6 years old now, and I had her for over 3 years. That's from start to being a finished horse, and I got to win the all-around junior horse all-around world championship in Ocala, Florida on this mare. Showed her in the rail class, the trail, the reining, the working cow horse, the cow catching, the boxing, the herd work, down the fence. And this mare, I think she beat the field by 75 to 100 points over a 2-week period of being showed in Florida. And now the owner, Carolyn Hefner, she is getting the opportunity to show her as an amateur. Carolyn is 71 years old and started our first fence or boxing cow classes this year. She's an ex-reiner, and she's having the time of life. And to step back and get to see the amateur get to enjoy this mare is just another highlight in my life with this mare.
Wow, that's amazing. That is really amazing. Fred, we want to thank you again for joining us here on Better Horses. But if people wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way to contact you?
You can go to my Facebook page, Fred Bershauer Performance Horses, and information there for contact. And you can message me, and I will get back with you.
So, and there you go. We've been talking to Fred Bershauer Performance Horses, Merle and Susie. We're going to have to take a break. So we'll be right back right after these messages. And welcome back to Better Horses. I can't tell you how much we enjoy everyone listening in and all the feedback you give us. If you haven't checked us out, we have a website, betterhorses.com. Susie, we have a newspaper, we have a radio show, we have a podcast, and we also have a TV show, but you can check it out on YouTube too.
Yes, check us out on Facebook to see kind of too. We bounce around to different events, and we always want to help share and like other people's activities. And today we're talking chickens and all sorts of different things. So I can't wait to get started.
Today we're talking chickens, and we're going to hear from our CDC director, Dr. Mandy Cohen, and she's going to explain what's going on with the bird flu and the outbreak and what people should know right now.
So with regards to avian flu or bird flu, we are definitely taking this seriously. This is the first time we are seeing avian flu in cattle, in cows. We haven't seen that previously. Obviously, it had been in chicken, poultry before, and that is where our heavy efforts have been in terms of monitoring. So the fact that it is in cattle now is definitely raises our concern level, and we have some work to do to better understand that. The virus is the same strain of the virus that we have seen in chickens in the past. So it's not a new strain of the virus. So this is known to us, and we've been studying it. And frankly, we've been preparing for avian flu for 20 years. Unlike COVID, which is a completely novel or new virus, avian flu is known to us. And we've been thinking about vaccines and treatment and tests for quite a number of years. But this is a new development. Cows, mammals, being a reservoir gives this virus new opportunity to change. And that's what we're watching for really closely. Has this virus changed, or is it changing that would make it more likely to spread from human to human? The good news is right now in the United States, we've never had a documented case of human to human spread of avian flu. But that's what we're watching for to understand how this virus is changing. Today, it's the same version of the virus, but as we've all learned through COVID, these viruses change very quickly. So we are needing to watch it closely. We have to sequence these. We have to stay ahead of it.
And now that Dr. Mandy Cohen explains everything's going on with the bird flu, I want to welcome Darvin Burkholder. Now, he founded in 2017 Farm Fresh Foods, LLC, and they're located near the mid-Missouri area. And he's delivering free-range chickens, non-GMO eggs to the Kansas City and Lawrence area. So welcome to Better Horses. Darvin, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
So Darvin, this is something completely different. We're always talking about horses. Myrtle and Susie and I are doing our reading as fast as we can about chickens, but we're talking biosecurity a little bit. And so we've mentioned that, the chickens, the latest bird flu was coming through migratory birds, and then it get into the dairy farmers. Walk to me on how you're doing with your biosecurity, and for chicken farmers like yourself, how does that affect you?
Yes. The closest outbreak to us was, I believe it was in Ionia, which would be on the other side of 65. It was a Tyson breeder farm. And so that it was far enough away that it didn't actually affect the feed trucks and the egg trucks coming and going here. But we did need to, we keep signs up saying that no trespassers and no visitors. We try not to let anybody close to the chickens. They can see them from the road, but not to actually get in. And with something that close, we just take extra precautions because we do not want it here because it can wipe out a whole flock. And that's what happened to those barns over there. They totally cleaned out and had to disinfect and bury the birds and stuff. So yeah, it's not something it's not something I actually was ever involved in, and I'd rather not.
So yeah,
firsthand. So.
We've seen it in Texas, and I think they've had an outbreak out in there in Wisconsin or Minnesota. You haven't seen it here in the Midwest meaning Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. But from the Missouri standpoint, you're not seeing anything.
Yeah, there was one about 45 minutes west of us, was the closest to us, and that's too close. So yeah, over for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, they actually made it mandatory that we had to let the birds inside, weren't allowed to let them out because the geese were flying. So there was a couple of weeks our birds were not outside, but they're outside again enjoying this beautiful sunshine.
So let's talk about the pricing of eggs since they got cold. Do you see any changes from a consumer standpoint?
That does not affect my price when I go to the city. No. Yeah, as I market my eggs, we're in the specialty market. So that does not, our price, what makes it change is the feed cost. And so if the feed bill goes up, then that goes up a little bit to make up the difference. But no, the white egg market, that fluctuates up is the same. Since 2017, it's only been a couple cents difference since we started.
Yeah, so when you're looking at trying to stop the migrating birds come in, walk us through, who are not into this type of farming, how do you stop that?
Well, we can't stop the migrating birds. They're flying overhead. And since we label our eggs as free range and pastured, they do need to be outside. So we're allowed to lock them up. I'm not sure, so many days out of a year, which isn't very many, but unless, of course, Missouri, unless there's an outbreak and they say we have to shut the doors, then that's different. But we're required to let them outside. And we can't help it if a goose flies overhead.
Yeah.
Right. See, I've got kind of a different kind of question for you. We have a lot of different viewers that, that are animal lovers, just kind of in general. And we, every time we go to the feed store to TSC, we always see the little chicks and everything like that. Just wondering if somebody wanted to just start their own little chicken flock, what would they need to do, and what would that look like?
I would encourage that. We enjoy it. We enjoy watching. I have 3 boys of my own. They're young. The oldest is 8 years old, and it's a family business is what we are. And my wife is very involved with it as well. And we gather the eggs, and we'll just be outside walking around with the chickens. We don't, like I said, we don't let visitors come to the farm and be with the chickens, but us as a family, we're out there walking around. It's a great way to raise a family and have some chickens. We have goats and some milk cows too. We milk them by hand. Just kind of a hobby farm, but it's family, all the families involved. I think chickens they're easy to take care of. Of course, you have a lot of predators. I mean, we had a fox, come in and just start tries to kill our chickens and raccoons and stuff like that. A chicken is a very vulnerable animal, and yeah, a lot of things like to eat chicken. So you have to put up some guards. We have fences that are the little woven fencing, so not just anything can get through, but foxes can dig underneath. So you got to keep an eye out for that.
You know, Darvin, I think also for me, I find some interest in this because we do talk about biosecurity now, and with things like COVID and you know, whether you believe where it came from, if it came from bats or whatever, how much do you look towards other species to see where your next maybe bio threat is going to be coming from? I mean, because I think as all of us here are animal lovers and breeders and have, but I think we need to be more aware of you know, that these do jump species, you know, it's not just one, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't know much about the flus and stuff, and I hear that other things can possibly carry it too. I mean, like we're here, we have some woods, there's quite a bit of birds, and then there's all kinds of other critters running around, and I don't know. Yeah, there's other diseases as well, like you said.
I love the fact that you said you'd love to encourage people from getting into the business. Do you see that a lot? Do you see a lot of the rural area getting into chickens and setting up predator-proof type ranges for them?
Yeah, I don't know. In our area, there's not a whole lot of it. Of course, with COVID, it seemed there was everybody wanted a couple chickens through that time, and I think it opened some people's eyes. I think that because of the egg spike and stuff, even through that, our price, it went up just a couple cents a dozen. It didn't affect because, yeah, we're the specialty market, but it does seem that people are starting to be more aware and to do things. Yeah, get some chickens of their own. I think it's a great thing. We always enjoy letting the chickens run around, and my wife does get frustrated when they're in the flower bed and start digging up her flowers, but we enjoy watching them anyway.
So, Darvin, can you compare your operation to a more of an industrial chicken farm and what the big difference is when we're talking about high quality brown eggs, things like that?
Well, just the quality of the egg is, yeah, it's kind of sells itself, to be honest with you. That's kind of how my business grows. We did start doing some advertising, but before that, it was always this chef talked to that chef. It was always when you have a product, it sells itself. When you have a good product, you got that good dark yolk. We had some restaurants and bakeries that were being accused of adding food coloring. They thought it was too dark of a yolk because when you buy this egg from a chicken that's stuck inside all the time and ain't out there scratching around eating bugs and grass and stuff, you get a pale yolk. And that when people go from that to the dark yolk, then and honestly, it tastes much better. It smells better when you're frying it. That's all we eat. I can't eat a white egg anymore, but but that's just me. So I love the product. I really do. And it sells itself.
So Darvin, looking at your website at farmfreshfoodmo.com, that's the best place to get it. That is Farm Fresh Foods. Now you offer free range and non-GMO eggs. Before we go, explain the non-GMO eggs.
All the eggs I sell are free range or pastured. The non-GMO, that just has to do with the feed. All the chickens are outside. Maybe that goes back to the question you asked about the other chickens. Our chickens are not in cages, or they're not stacked in cages like these big farms. Our chickens are they can roost. There's pipes. They can go up and down, and they go outside. The non-GMO is the kind of feed to eat. And then we also have organic, which on my website, I just went with the non-GMO as advertised there because that's what we're getting into restaurants and stores mostly. Most of them are restaurants. The stores that we go into, we carry the organic and then the regular conventional as well. But that has to do with the feed. All the chickens are free range, they're all outside.
That's perfect. So we're talking to Darvin Burkholder over there at Farm Fresh Foods, LLC. This is a company that delivers farm fresh eggs, and they have done an amazing job. First of all, Darvin, we want to thank you for joining us. This is something completely different, Merle and Susie, that we've never had to do, so I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Maybe just one thing I had told you earlier, I should just clarify, is that friends in my area, that there's an organic farm here. a non-GMO farm over here, conventional. I'd buy their eggs and I'd deliver them to the city, because I cannot have an organic farm and a non-GMO farm all at the same place. I can't say eating conventional and then call it an organic egg. That's not right. That's not honest. If it's organic, it comes off the organic farm, and it has to do with the feed. That's why the organic feed's expensive. I just thought I should clarify that.
Darvin, we want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate all the information, and we know more about chickens than we ever did. I think Susie's nodding her head, so I think she's on board.
Oh,
so you sold her.
Okay, good.
I thought she was pecking. Yeah.
Darvin Burkholder from Farm Fresh LLC. And don't forget to get his website at farmfreshfoodsmo.com. All right, everyone. So stay with us. We're going to be right back with more of Better Horses. I'm Ed Adams.
And I'm Susie Arbo.
And I'm Merle Arbo.
We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dylan Luter, a specialist in equine performance medicine at the Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center. Our new service focuses on lameness diagnosis, advanced imaging, physical therapy, and regenerative medicine for horses with injuries preventing them from performing at their best. We can treat a variety of conditions and design a customized rehabilitation plan to meet the needs of each client and their horse. Visit us at ksvhc.org, the Veterinary Health Center, to discover, to teach, to heal.
Hi, I'm Tommy with Heritage Tractor. Whether you're looking to maintain your yard or your whole ranching operation, Heritage Tractor has John Deere mower and tractor packages that make work fly by. With a variety of horsepower and attachment configurations, we have a package to best fit your needs and budget. To learn more about these exclusive packages, visit us in store or online at heritagetractor.com.
Legendary products, extraordinary service. That's our heritage.
Established in 1956, the Pinto Horse Association of America was formed to welcome all types of equines and maintain their show records and pedigrees. PTHA currently has over 88,000 members with 157,000 registered pintos. There are currently 3 separate registries: the Color Registry, the Solid Registry, and the Long Ear Registry. We welcome all levels of competition within a family-friendly environment. Become a member, register, and add value to your horse. For more information, check out the website pintoworld.com.
Runny nose, cough, fever. It's flu season for humans and horses. Like human flu vaccines, equine flu vaccines must be updated to protect against the flu strains circulating now. Merck Animal Health's flu-containing vaccines include the most current flu strains, protecting your horse from illness and time-missed training because of it. Talk with your veterinarian about Prestige flu vaccines and learn more about the science of advanced protection at prestigevaccines.com.
We're here for the hardworking, the resilient. We're for the people who measure their days by what needs to get done, not by hours. Where kids learn responsibility at a young age and generations work side by side. Where work doesn't pause for holidays or bad weather. It just gets harder. Where value and hard work means more than the clothes you wear. We're Kleinschmidt's Western Store, Higginsville, Missouri.
It's time to go with United Mosquito and Fly Control's premier fly system for fly control in your barn, providing relief for horses from the stress of fighting flies, and also makes the barn more pleasant for everyone in the barn. Easy, effective, and safe. With United Mosquito and Fly Control, we provide a full service. You as the barn owner don't have to do anything. We go everywhere and take care of everything with our friendly fast service. Call today at 913-558-3814 or email Paul at unitedmosquito.com.
2024 is the year to compete in the world's largest horse show, the Pinto World Championship. This 13-day event begins June 8th, starting with our youth weekend through June 22nd, and caters to all riding levels and ages. With over $1 million in cash and prizes, there are no qualifications required to enter. Held in Tulsa, Oklahoma, located at the Ford Complex, the Pinto World Championship caters to all types of equines. With over 700 classes, the Pinto Show welcomes a variety of breeds to compete. It's a family environment with healthy competition. For more information, check out the website pintoworld.com.
Welcome back to this week's Better Horses. You know, after this episode, I am ready to buy some chickens. I've wanted to do it for years, and I think this one sold me on it. Don't miss out on our newspaper that comes out and also our TV show that airs. It's all about horses and cattle and chickens and anything that we can think of.
We also want to give a special thanks to the team behind the scenes, our radio producer, Brianna Johnson, our television producer, Kelly Creech, and of course, all of our wonderful sponsors.
And we'd also like to thank our listeners. And remember, I want you all to be good buckaroos and buckarettes. Mind your mom and dads, and be brave, but don't take any chances out there. Until next time, I'm Ed Adams.
I'm Susie Arbo.
Merle Arbo.
Happy trails, and always ride for the brand.